Hi, Darren Dodge here, and welcome to This Week in Football. We're here every Monday night talking about last week, this week, and next week's games, all here on This Week in Football. Hey, and welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of This Week in Football. Darren Dodge here, and I'm here with my good friend, Will Gelin. How you doing tonight, Will?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. A great game of football we had.
Oh, God. Terrific game of football that we had tonight. I mean, Green Bay at Chicago. I mean, Aaron Rodgers playing some big games, but I think not enough to get it done tonight.
I'm actually pretty shocked. Green Bay was the favorite going into the game, and both undefeated teams.
Yep.
It's a battle for the NFC North, and it was what we expected. It was a dogfight.
Yeah, it was really back and forth tonight, don't you think?
It was a lot of back and forth. I'm surprised about the Chicago Bears, to be honest with you.
I am too. They had some big plays tonight.
3-0.
3-0.
They're undefeated. They're undefeated, and they beat a good Green Bay team. So I wouldn't take them for granted. They had a tough preseason. Preseason was really tough, and Jay Cutler. Sometimes he looks horrible.
Yeah.
Sometimes he looks horrendous, and then sometimes he looks brilliant.
I know.
So it's always a mixture with this guy.
There never seems to be a consistency with Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Which I think could hurt Chicago later on in the season.
That's true. Could be a big problem.
But yeah, we had some big games, as I'm sure all of you guys watched tonight, but went really back and forth, especially towards the end there. Second half, first half was, not so much, but second half, both teams really stepped it up. Yeah,
the first half, at the beginning, right before the end of the second quarter, I was like, okay, Green Bay is going to stomp Chicago Bears. Cutler was looking pretty bad. And this guy has no fight in him. He's like a pit bull sometimes. He's like almost like a Phillip Rivers attitude out there.
Yeah.
So when he came back at the end of the second quarter and had that drive, and the game was 10-7, and we had a ball game again, you kind of realize, in football that, it's really never over.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So
really went back and forth. A couple of big plays. Jay Cutler showing that he can run with 5 minutes left in the third, picked up a real big first, and then kept on rolling, picked up another good first to Desmond Clark.
Right.
And, they were driving all the way down to the end zone, went for it on fourth down, failed to convert. Then they held them on the 1, 4 and out, or 3 and out, punt it to Devin Hester, and he takes it 62 yards for a touchdown.
And then just like that, 14-10.
Going for it on fourth actually worked out for him that time, huh?
Just like that, 14-10. They're at home. Big questionable play. That was a huge questionable play. Conventional football, they would have kicked the field goal.
Exactly. Take the points.
And then they took the risk. They went for it. They didn't get it. It seemed like a mistake, but it actually turned out to be a pretty good decision.
Oh, I agree. When you go for it on fourth, on one, tie the game up, That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, you want to have a chance to win at the end, especially they had a chance to win at the end, and they did win the game on that field goal.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to the Packers, though, they were loving the shotgun tonight, weren't they?
They were. Actually, that play to Jones at the fourth quarter.
Yep.
He fumbles it.
Yep.
This ball stays in bounds.
Urlacher came in, knocked that ball out,
and the ball stays in bounds. He doesn't fumble that ball. I'm thinking Green Bay Packers get down the field and they're going to score a field goal, and that defense is going to try and have to hold Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
But that fumble was, it was pretty interesting. It never went out of bounds. It stayed in bounds. That ball was like a hot potato.
I'm thinking if they don't fumble, Green Bay probably wins that game.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah. But, there was a couple of bad calls tonight. One bad roughing the passer call that I think Green Bay got lucky on. Got that extra 15 yards that they needed, brought them down the field quite a ways.
Right.
But then, quarterbacks surprising me. Neither of these quarterbacks do we really know to be runners, but I mean, even Aaron Rodgers picked up a good 10-yard run, like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Right. I think Aaron Rodgers is a little bit more of a scrambler than Jay Cutler.
Yeah, definitely.
Jay Cutler is definitely, Aaron Rodgers, that Favre-esque attitude where he comes out of the pocket a lot. He's willing to make moves on his feet. Jay Cutler, more that gunslinger attitude where, he'll run if he has to. But I think they both have pretty good legs, those guys. Those guys, when they do decide to pull down the ball and run it, they both have really good legs, and they usually get some good gains.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think the Chicago defense definitely made a couple of mistakes tonight. Yeah. They were bringing those linebackers forward, and it just allowed them to do those little dump passes right over the middle.
Right.
I think that really hurt them tonight. I think they have to go back to the chalkboard with their defense there. They
did call in a lot of blitzes. They called in a lot of blitzes tonight. I think it was, to me, still a defense. It was definitely a defensive game. The Packers defense they're tough, and that Bears defense, those guys have been together for a while.
Yeah.
And during the development of that Green Bay defense, that Bears defense was already instilled. That was that, Tillman, you got your Urlacher.
Yeah.
So you have your staple guys there.
Yeah, the leaders of that team.
The leaders of that team, and that defense is looking good again. They're looking like that Chicago defense of old.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
Even Green Bay's defense is looking like that Green Bay defense of old. There's a little bit of nostalgic football going on right now with these two teams. These two guys, could be the powerhouses of the NFL. Who would have thought it?
Oh, definitely not me. Definitely not me. I mean, yeah, this was a great game. Went back and forth. I think really exciting Monday night game.
I'll just sort of chime in real quick, Jacob, the producer's here. This is all 4 Monday night games were within a 7-point sort of margin of victory. Since it switched to ESPN, they haven't gotten really any marquee games whatsoever, and yet the Baltimore-New York game was awful. But other than that, every game's been up to the last play, sort of really, really exciting. So it's sort of cool to see it sort of keep that tradition going.
Right.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For those of you guys who joined us last week, you guys can remember that last week's game came down to the wire, too.
Yeah.
Almost went into overtime, like tonight's game.
Right. And it looked like that game was over.
Yeah, definitely.
It looked like that game was done. It was,
Totally.
And then just like it seems on Monday night, the miraculous happened. So it's been interesting, and to think that Monday Night Football, used to be on ABC.
Yeah.
ABC Monday Night Football. That used to be the big thing, and now they have Sunday Night Football. But yeah, this game used to be on primetime television.
Yeah.
And ESPN.
And you look at these marquee tonight. I think exception. That's a good NFC North rivalry. But I mean, Kansas City, San Diego, San Francisco, New Orleans. These seem like San Diego's going to blow them out. New Orleans is going to blow out San Francisco, and you didn't get that. You got really, really nice, close games. So maybe a little bit lucky on ESPN's part, but I'm sure they're happy about it, keeping everyone sort of stayed in until last minute, last seconds, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about what you guys think, but I think that Monday Night Football has really found a good home at ESPN. And I think it's a good change-up from all of, the big, corporations dominating football every year. I like to see ESPN, having Monday Night Football. I think it's a good fit.
Well, they definitely do care about football, and it's a good home network for it.
Oh yeah.
But these games have been extremely tight, and it's good to have Monday Night Football back again. It's good to have that Monday night game that you care about, because most of the time that Monday night game was going to hell. All you had really was Madden.
Yep.
And you had the bus. And all you really cared about was who was going to be the player of the week.
Exactly.
And like how Sunday night is now, with marquee matchups tend to be coming really out of the NFC East. A lot of Cowboys, a lot of Eagles. The Monday night allows teams like Kansas City, like Miami, maybe these slightly underrepresented teams to really have a nice sort of national audience and show that they can compete on sort of at least for one game, in San Francisco's case last week, for a little bit. So.
Yeah. That's very true. That's a good point, because you bring in these teams you have a team like the Texans. They haven't played a Monday night game yet. I'm not sure if they're going to play one this year, But you get a game like, a team like the Texans, like Kansas City. You have a team, everyone's discounting Kansas City. Kansas City's out of it. They started 0-4 last year. Yep. And now look at Kansas City's 3-0. Yeah. And they played that game on Monday Night Football. So it gives you an opportunity to see guys like McCluster. You get Jamal Charles. You get a Dwayne Bowe. You get Matt Castle. You get these guys out there, and you get to see them play some good football and know that that no one's really ever out of it. These guys are professionals and they're in the NFL. So
Houston at Indy week 8.
Houston
against my Colts.
Houston at Indy. That's going to be a great game week 8.
Oh yeah.
My early predictions Houston. I'm going to take them. I'm going to be the first guy to pull it. I'm pulling Houston out right now.
5 weeks in the future.
I'm pulling Houston out right now.
Wow, that's a bold pick, to say the least. But we're going to move into Sunday's games.
All right.
I want to start off by talking about the Titans-Giants game. I mean, Chris Johnson had a pretty good game, running for 125 yards, 2 TDs. Also, Eli, 34 completions, 386 yards, 0 TDs. Who would expect that?
Yeah.
When a guy throws 34 completions and 386 yards and doesn't have a TD, that's weird.
He didn't have a TD, but he did have 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
So, no TDs, 2 interceptions. I think they had 2 or 3 opportunities to score within the 6-yard line of the Tennessee Titans, and there ended up being turnovers. Amar Badshaw fumble and an Eli Manning interception. This game, I mean, Giants are at home. Giants are coming back home. They haven't had a win all season. You're figuring, okay, these guys are gonna show up. They're gonna perform.
Yeah, I was guessing that too.
Yeah, Tennessee came off of slacking the week before, and here you go, boom. Tennessee comes back and they handle the Giants where they handle them 29-10.
Yeah,
I mean, that game was very. What are the Giants made of? Is really my question. Like, what are these guys gonna be able to do?
I know. Yeah, we'll find out next week, I guess.
Right.
See how they do then. Moving on to the Bangles Panthers. Bengals lost 20 to. Oh, actually, take that back. Bengals won 20 over the Panthers to 7. That was a pretty good game. Not a lot going on. No real standout plays.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin over there. T.O. and Ocho Cinco. Not getting a lot done. Neither of them had a touchdown. I mean, I thought that it was going to be West Coast offense the whole way, just like deep passes. T.O. had, I think, 2 receptions. God. That was it.
And I don't think they combined for 100 yards.
Yeah.
So these 2 guys who were, they didn't combine for 100 yards. They still got the win. Cedric Benson had himself a game. With Jimmy Clausen's first start here as well on that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jimmy Clausen's first start. He had 188 yards, 1 interception, no touchdown. I think Austin Palmer had about the same thing. There wasn't much going on in this game.
No.
It wasn't really exciting at all.
No, I was expecting that the Bengals were going to be like the team to watch every single week this year. I was expecting big plays, that West Coast offense, but, I mean, we have yet to see what Batman and Robin can really do.
I thought it was going to be a show. I thought there was going to be I thought it was going to be, there was going to be a Sharpie pulled out. I thought there was going to be popcorn flying. Yep. I thought this was going to be an explosive game for these guys.
With those 2 personalities, you got to expect that.
I don't feel like they delivered this week. So
I agree.
But they got the win.
That's all that matters in football. Moving on to the Steelers and the Bucks. Steelers blew out the Bucks 38-13. Charlie Batch getting his start, went 12 for 17, 186 yards, but 3 TDs. And if you guys remember last week, I said that Mendenhall had to get 20 touches, 20 carries for them to win that game. They gave him 19. So I'm pretty happy with my pick right there.
Dude.
And then we're going to move on to Bills and the Pats. Also, I guaranteed that the Pats would win this one because the Pats know the Bills. Belichick has the Bills number, I think.
And still, Buffalo scored 30 on New England. Buffalo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is that? Is that a testament more to Buffalo just having a randomly good game, or is New England's defense that bad?
I think that's a testament to how well those teams know each other. The Bills and the Pats, because I'm from Boston, I mean, that every year that's a good game. Every year.
Well, I'm a big New England Patriots fan. I'm from Boston.
Oh, there we go. All right, glad to have you, man.
We got this going. We got that camaraderie. And I was a little disappointed with the way New England won the game. Yeah. I felt like we're just when we were dominating, we really took care of Buffalo. It was just a game that we really just handled. It was just to show our dominance in terms of how good we were as a team. I feel like, Brady 3 TD passes, 2 to Randy Moss.
Yep.
Randy Moss is, those guys are going to hook up a lot this year.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're still gelling together, and I think if we can get, Ben Jarvis Green had a great game. He had a good game as a runner. We have to establish that run game.
Yeah.
It seems like we're just relying on this pass. We're just a passing team now.
Yeah, I know.
So,
kind of strange. We went from the hard-nosed football team to now we're just relying on Tom Brady.
We rely on Tom Brady. We love his hair.
Yeah, seriously. Moving on to the Browns and the Ravens. How about this? Joe Flacco, 3 touchdowns, all to Antoine Bolden.
Right.
All 3 of them.
Yeah.
These guys were playing catch out there.
Yeah, that was amazing. What did he have? 4 turnovers last week, Flacco. So he had a horrible game. He bounced back really well, and Anquan Bolden, his homecoming party to Baltimore, definitely showed why they went out and got a big time receiver like that. That guy he's made of nails, man. That guy's a tough guy. He had 2 TDs. He had 3 TDs.
Flacco to Bolden. Those guys were playing catch.
God. So 3 TDs, and they won 24-17. I'm a little concerned about that win, 24-17. You're playing Cleveland Browns team. You're Baltimore Ravens. A team like Cleveland, a struggling team, you only win by a touchdown. It's pretty concerning for me.
Yeah.
But they held them to 17 points. Which is okay. Maybe, and they scored 24. I think they maybe should have scored a few more points than that.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to see them get about 35 points.
Especially with the Browns, who are notorious in the league. Going to move on to the 49ers and the Chiefs. I watched a lot of this game. It was a blowout. I mean, 49ers going into Arrowhead Stadium. Matt Castle, former Patriot, got 3 TDs, 250 yards. Pretty good game.
Yeah.
Wishing that we held on to him.
Yeah. Well, he would have been on our bench.
True.
It's not much room to grow after Brady. That guy's the best. Matt Castle did show up for the game. The Chiefs, like we said earlier, 3-0. Those guys are undefeated right now.
Yep.
Those guys are undefeated football team, and they have a lot. Their swagger's growing. The last time they started off, last season they were 0-4. The last time I think they started off with 3 wins was 2003. So it was years back since they had such a good start.
And they went on a pretty good run in 2003.
Yeah, they did. It was Herm Edwards, I believe, was coaching.
Yep.
Just got in there. So that was very interesting. Those guys have a bunch of young guys there playing football together. That's a very talented group of individuals, and it'd be interesting to see what they could do this year. That Kansas City team.
Oh yeah.
Especially a franchise that's been down like that. Sometimes you just like to see it turn around, have some excitement.
Return to their former glory.
Yeah.
Moving on to the battle for Texas. We had the Cowboys versus the Texans. And who's the better team here? Record says no, but this game said yes. Cowboys winning 27-13. Picking up their first win. Tony Romo throwing 2 TDs to Roy Williams. And the Texans picking up their first loss.
Roy Williams.
Yeah.
like Roy Williams. This guy, I thought he was left for dead, this guy. I thought he had been shot out of Texas. He comes back with a vengeance, has a big game. He was open receiver, caught the ball, got 2 touchdowns, had a great game. Really thought Houston was going to show up for this game a little bit more. This was a big game for them. They came in. They had a lot of high hopes for them. It's like playing Big Brother.
Yep.
The Eli Payton story kind of situation. They go in and they get smacked by the Dallas Cowboys. Romo was ready to play ball. Those guys came. they brought their big boy pants and they strapped them on and they took care of business.
Yeah, but I think that there was no way that the Cowboys could have lived with themselves by losing to the Texans.
That would have been a hard loss. To go 0-3 and losing to the Texans, that would have been a tough loss for the Cowboys.
Especially a new team like the Texans.
You know, a good note is that Arian Foster, that rookie's good, man. This guy,
he's a player to watch.
Yeah, he had over 100 yards, and he is actually still leading the NFL in rushing. So
really,
yeah, he's the rushing leader.
I noticed that he was leading it last week, but he's still still ahead.
He had a huge first week. It's hard to catch up when you double somebody up on that first week. So he went over 100 yards and still had a good game, still running hard. But just like you said, the Cowboys, were victorious. They took care of business, and now they're 1-2.
Yep. Going to touch quickly on the Lions and Vikings game. Lions lost 10 to the Vikings 24. Adrian Peterson, just want to touch on him real quick. 23 carries, 160 yards, 7 yards per carry, 2 TDs. That's a hell of a game.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Minnesota did a good thing. They put it on the back of a young celebrity star athlete. This guy is he's
destined for the Hall of Fame.
He's on his way. This guy, he's the truth.
Yeah.
And they got a great quarterback in Brett Favre. But this time they did what they needed to do. They played smash mouth football. And what are we gonna say? They beat the Detroit Lions with Sean Hill at quarterback. I mean, there's only
not
so much
too
credit.
notable of a win.
Right. There's only so much credit you can give these guys at this point. So they beat the Detroit Lions at home with a Sean Hill at quarterback. So. Let's see what they can do after this bye week they have coming up next week. So we're not going to get to talk about them next week, but the week after, let's see what they can come out with. Percy Harvin looked good again. He needs a receiver. Sidney Rice is out. There's no one he can go to. They got Hank Baskett.
Yep.
All I know for Hank Baskett for is dating the girl Kendra from the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, who's he have to throw the ball to? This guy. So let's see what they can come up with besides the Detroit Lions, and then give them some credit.
Moving on to the Falcons Saints. Falcons picking up a win, 27-24. Drew Brees, though, interesting stat, 30 for 38. 3 touchdowns, 365 yards. Now, when Drew Brees plays like that, you're usually thinking the Saints are going to win.
Right.
And I mean, Matt Ryan on the other end of it is 19 for 30, 228 yards, 2 TDs.
Right.
But I mean, that kid, pleasure to watch him play every year. Coming out of BC, producing some pretty good quarterbacks down there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, for a while we hadn't had any, but definitely a great representative is Matt Ryan. That game, New Orleans had that game won. They had that game, and the curse of the kicker this week, it seems like. Hartley misses that field goal, would have kept the Saints undefeated, would have been a big win for them. Yep. But the NFC South, I mean, that's a battle. That's a dogfight. I don't think anyone's ever repeated twice as a champion there. So that's what they're fighting for now. And we have, an Atlanta Falcons team that came in and they were ready to play. They were ready to show that they want to be contenders. And they got lucky. They missed that field goal. Matt Ryan drove them down the field, took care of business, and they nailed that field goal at the end to win the game in New Orleans. It was a big win and great game. It came down, overtime.
Yep.
An overtime win. So
overtime win. So always exciting games when it goes to overtime.
Very exciting game.
Redskins lost to the Rams 16-30. We're going to move on to the Eagles Jags. Eagles playing some good football. Mike Vick, I salute you. You are the player of old. I mean, this guy, when he came back into the NFL, I was like, let's see what he can do, But playing like a madman, 212 yards, 3 TDs, and David Garrard, you sucked. I'm sorry, but you did not play good. Step your game up on that one. Moving on to the Colts and the Broncos, 27-13. Manning, 325 yards, 3 TDs. Kyle Orton playing for his high of 476 yards. That's a career high for him. Throwing for 476 yards.
Bombs over Baghdad.
Yeah, really?
They went at it, those two guys.
My favorite stat from the game, and giant Colts homer here, but the rushing leader of that game was 29 yards, Joseph Adai.
Oh, God.
So it was all
Yeah.
throw. I mean, Denver, 476 yards, but they scored 13 points.
Right.
One
Yeah.
touchdown out of that. So.
And they got held out of the end zone a couple times as well. They had a couple opportunities to score. They were inside the red zone. No chance. Or Lawrence Maroney gets shut down. 4 tries. They turned the ball over. No points.
No good.
No
I know
bueno.
this game you wanted to talk about. We got to do it briefly. Raiders 23, Cardinals 24.
Who would ever
Janikowski.
want to talk about the
Raiders and the Cardinals?
But this field goal by Janikowski at the end was very shady to me. I don't understand how he missed this field goal. You have an opportunity to win the game. You're one of the best kickers in the league. You missed twice. I didn't understand it. It was horrible. It wasn't just maybe I just cannot expect. You should have come to expect something like that from the Raiders, I guess.
Yeah, those mobsters are fixing the games. You know,
There's something
Janikowski may have gotten some money.
Janikowski,
All right.
infamous Janikowski.
Yeah. Chargers lost to the Seahawks 20-27. However, I hate Phillip Rivers, but I have to applaud him on a great game. Threw for 455 yards.
And one guy we have to talk about is Leon Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Leon Washington won that game for the Seattle Seahawks. They call him Seattle Leon Washington. In that game alone, he's just taken over as the franchise record for return yards in any Seahawks game. And he had a 101-yard return and a 99-yard return. And he was fantastic.
Totally. Then the Jets getting a win over the Dolphins 31-23. Sanchez threw for 256 yards, 3 TDs. And we had, Chad Henne. I just wish he played this well for Michigan when he was there, man. He just gave me nothing but pain when he was at Michigan. But 363 yards, 2 TDs. Boys stepping up.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd say that, but Chad playing good. I was surprised that guy got drafted.
Yeah. Well, he just had, I guess he got the opportunity after they lost the quarterback. That used to play for the Jets.
Chad Pennington.
Pennington, yes.
Yep.
After Pennington went out, he got an opportunity.
Another quarterback that sucks, in my opinion.
Right. He got an opportunity, and now he has Brandon Marshall, the beast, and Marshall 166 yards and a TD. That guy is the truth.
Yeah.
True. Veritas. So, yeah, the Dolphins look pretty good this year. And the Jets went down to Miami and they took him out. Like you were saying, Mark Sanchez, the golden boy, he just took care of business, went down there and handled it. So the Jets, Braylon Edwards, off of that drinking and driving suspicion. Well, I guess he's no suspicions. He already admitted guilt. So after getting drunk and driving home, comes back down to Miami and takes care of business. Jets win. LaDainian Tomlinson looked pretty good as well.
Yeah, he did. Now we're going to move on to a couple of games to watch next week. Jets and the Bills. I got the Jets win this one. What do you think?
Jets and the Bills. I like the Jets.
Yeah,
I like
definitely.
the Jets.
That's going to be a great game to watch. I think everybody at home should definitely be tuning into that game.
And the Fitzpatrick, the Harvard quarterback, they got rid of Trent Edwards. He's out. He's out of there. And it's completely released him from the team, and it's Fitzpatrick's team. But I don't think he can get it done against the Jets.
Another huge game next week, Ravens-Steelers. I got the Ravens.
I like the Steelers.
Really?
I like the Steelers. The Steelers are always they're just finding a way to win games.
Yep.
That is going to be, someone might go to the hospital. Someone may need a mortuary. So, that is going to be a hard-hitting football game.
Yeah,
I can guarantee that.
I agree.
Someone's getting hurt. Something's going down in this game. But I like the Steelers. I like the smash mouth football of the Steelers. That defense is looking great again. Their defense is
very adaptable.
Killing it right now.
That's what my old coach used to say. As long as you can adapt mid-game, it's a good chance you're going to win that. But I don't know. With Flacco playing the way he did, I think I'm taking the Ravens.
All right.
Well, we'll see. We'll be talking about it next week. All right. Well, moving on to the Redskins Eagles. I know you pointed this game out.
Yeah. The Redskins and Eagle. Donovan McNabb is coming back home, and he's looking for those Eagles fans. And I think the Eagles are going to be looking for him as well. It's going to be tough for McNabb. His offensive line's struggling a little bit. He's, has been under a lot of pressure. delivering the ball. He brought Santana Moss back to life, giving that guy somebody who can actually get him the ball. So Santana Moss is having a great season. But, I don't know if they can go in there and take that game from the Eagles. The Eagles are going to be playing very, 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 very tough. And like we were saying, Vic, that guy is, he's fighting for his home. He wants
definitely.
He's fighting for it.
He's looking to be that starting quarterback again.
Yeah, he's fighting for it, and he has. You give that guy Deshaun Jackson. What did he have in Atlanta? He had no one. He had Algie Crumpler, and no one.
Yeah. That's why he was running the ball all the time.
He didn't have White. Roddy White.
Yep.
So you give him somebody like like a Deshaun Jackson and a Macklin, and he's gonna perform.
Real quick, Bears, Giants, who you taking?
Man, I'm gonna take the upset with I always take the Giants, and
really,
I have no idea. Like for some reason, the Giants, man. I think they're just gonna win sometime.
After tonight's game, I'm taking the Bears, man. Yeah. I think the Bears have got this. And then we're talking about next Monday night, our Pats versus the Dolphins. Who you taking?
I can't defect from my home team.
Yeah.
Let's go Patriots. Let's go Brady. Keep that hair going.
I'm saying the same thing. Patriots are going to take that one. But that's pretty much all that we got for This Week in Football, and I hope to see you guys all next week on This Week in Football. See you guys next Monday.